Welcome to this online tutorial about how to make a woven wall hanging. Today we're going to use a basic cardboard loom just to make a mini wall hanging. So I'll introduce you today just to the basic steps on how to weave and also to how to make a rye knot, which are these at the bottom, just to add a bit of flair to your wall hanging. So first off, I'll just run through the tools and materials that we've got today. Today we've just got this really simple cardboard loom which has already been threaded for you, and we call this the warp thread. So warp is what goes up and down the loom. We've also just got a basic weaving needle, but watch out, it can be quite sharp. Also too, got this piece of cardboard which we call a spacer. We've got a comb, a piece of dowel, a pair of scissors. And I like to use a small embroidery scissors, but any old pair of scissors will do. Just make sure that they can cut yarn. And also too, we've got here a bunch of colourful wool. You notice that there is two of the same colour, and we're going to use those for the rye knot. So make sure you don't start with those two. Cool, so to get started, just move this stuff out of the way. We're actually going to grab your spacer and we're going to weave that onto your loom. And how we're going to do that is you're just going to start from right to left. You're going to go under, over, under, over, under, over, and then keep going to the end of your loom. And to see how it can just move up and down, really simple. And that's just going to keep our weaving really straight. So now we're going to start off with the colour. So we're going to grab the first bit of yarn. I'm going to use this beautiful maroon colour, and I'm just going to unravel it. And because it's a long piece of yarn, I don't want to use all of it. So I'm just going to fold it in half. I'm just going to cut. I'm going to put one of the piece aside, just over here. And I'm going to grab the first bit and I'm just going to thread my needle. Really simple. You can see there, pull it through. Great, so I work left to right. You don't have to, you can work right to left, but I'm just going to start with my very first line. So above the spacer, see how this, so we've got 14 warp threads down. I'm going to go over my very first one and then under my second, and over and under. And see how this one, because it's sitting above, it just easily thread it through. And we're just going to pull that straight. And I'm going to leave a long tail here at the end of it because I'm going to put that back into my weave. And then what I'm going to do is do my second. Now because this one has gone under, we're going to go over first. So we're going to go over, under, and see how I'm going to pick that up just so there's a clear definition between the two. And I'm going to go over and then pick it under, over, under. And just hold your loom down with your other hand just to make sure you're picking up every one. So I'm going to pull this through, but I'm not going to pull too tightly. I'm going to do it slowly, and I'm going to slowly pull it through. And see when it gets to about there, I'm going to hold this and then bring it down. Don't stress about bringing it all the way down yet. We're just going to do 2 more rows and then we'll worry about bringing it down. So again, because this one is under, I'm going to go over the first one. So over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under to the end. And again, I'm going to pull that through, but not too tightly, just quite gently, and hold it and just bring that through. And then one more, we'll go across. So we're going to go, because we've come under this one, we're going to go over it. And gently bring this through. Cool. Now I'm just going to pull this out and bring it to the side because I'm going to fix up this tail here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the weave. So I'm going to thread my needle, and then I'm going to go above it, not below it, above it, so it's in the actual weave. So because this is over, I'm going to go under, over, and I'm going to do that till we get to the middle, which is here, and then I'm just going to pull this through underneath, and then hold it and then gently let it go, and see how it's like that. So now what I'm doing is going to grab my comb And I'm just going to bring this down. So there you have it. There is your first 4 rows of weaving. So now what I'm going to do is the rye knots. Because you can see here, we've done the first 4 rows here, and then I'm going to do the rye knots. So then I'm going to get my 2 balls of wool, and I'm going to make little strands of wool out of these. So how I'm going to do that, I'm going to grab the first one, I'm going to unravel it. I'm going to find the 2 ends, put them together, and then just bring it through until it's in half. And I'm going to grab this one and I'm going to hold these together and then fold it in half again, and then fold it in half again, and then fold it in half again. So we've got these 2 ends with the loops. So I'm going to cut the loops very gently. And then I've got some strands of wool there. I'm going to do that again. So I'm going to grab the second piece of yarn. Move my scissors out of the way. Find the end of it. Put these pieces together. And then fold it. Fold it again. And again. And again. I'm going to cut it again, turn it around, and there's my piles of yarn. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create these knots. So because we've got 14 warp threads down, we're going to create 7 knots across it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up 2 strands of wool, like so, and I'm going to grab my index finger and I'm going to put it under the very first 2. I'm going to get this and place it like this, and then I'm going to grab the first one and pop it just around like so, and then the second one like so. Oops. And those 2 around, and then I'm going to grab these 2 and I'm just going to pull it down very gently, like so. So I'm going to go onto the second 2, so number 3 and 4. I'm going to pick it up with my index finger. I'm going to put that one on top, and then with my right one first, I'm going to bring this around itself, and then again the second one, and I'm going to slowly bring it down. Now don't stress if they get a bit loose, it's okay because they will all work out in the end, but just kind of be very gentle with it. So again, so I'm going to do my third one, which means I'm going to pick up number 5 and 6 with my index finger. With my right one, I'm going to bring this, gets a bit tricky sometimes, and towards the middle, bring it down, and then gently bring it down. Now see how I'm using my spacer just to bring it up? That's what your spacer's for. It's just to help you to keep things straight. Just take it slowly. You don't need to rush through these. It's just really easy to do that. Get your comb if you want, just to give them a bit of comb. Again. Oh, see how it's quite easy. If that happens to you, just take it straight out, fix it up again, pick it up with your index finger again, and just last two for this line. And bring it down. Nice. So you use your spacer, bring it up, give it a bit of comb. Great. So because we like to have nice and bushy, we're going to do a second row of wire knots. So all you do is start again. Pick up more, two more, start from the left again. Oop. Do you want to stay in that one? And repeat. Okay, great. So we've got our two lines of wire knots. So pretty. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to continue weaving. So we're going to pick up this the maroon piece of yarn, which was already you've woven with, and we're going to re-thread that onto the needle, and we're just going to start weaving again. So we're going to go over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, until we get to the end. Pull that through and go back the other way. So over, under, over, under. And keep repeating. Looks like we've got one more row with this wool. Now before we comb this down, we're going to get rid of this tail. So now we're going to go underneath it because we want to match it up with this colour. So we're going to go, because we've gone under with this one, we're going to go over it, and then under, over, under, over, under. Get to about the middle, bring through the other side of the needle to the other end, and just bring it through, hold it and pull it down, and then comb it down. Let's do that one again. Just going to make that a little bit tighter. Beautiful. Bring that through and bring it down. Cool. So now we're going to go choose the next colour. So I might use this lovely purple colour. So again, because we don't need all the yarn, I'm only going to use half of it. And zip it, put it to the side, thread my needle again, and just start it again. So as you would with the maroon. So we're just going to go weave this through, pull it through, make sure you got a bit of the tail, and just go this side. And see how I'm using my other hand to hold down the weave? That's just to make sure that I've got enough tension so I can weave it in and out. Hold that there. Unthread that. Now we're going to put this tail away. Into the middle, bring it through, hold it, bring it down, grab your comb and thread it down. Bring this back one back on and start weaving again. Okay, so we're coming up to some of our last rows here, just because it's getting very tight. Now it's good to have it very tight here rather than very loose. So I know you want to get excited and you want to finish it really quickly, but it's best to use all the wool that was given to you rather than not use it all. And then it's too loose and then it won't look as good. So I'm coming up to my very last row here. Ooh, before I start that, I should get combed down. So there we go. Bring that one through. Now I've got to get rid of my tail. So again, going below it, just weaving it through like so. Ooh. There you go. So that's your loom done. So I'm going to leave my spacer in there. So as you can see, so you've got your first half, and you've got your rind knots, and you've got your first one here. So I'm just going to bring that up a bit. It's best to have lots of space down here, just so, because we need to tie it off at the end, and it's good to have lots of tails that you can play with when you can tie it off. Okay. So this bit is when it gets a little bit tricky and you feel like your weave is going all out of place, but don't worry too much because you'll be able to fix it up. So I want you to grab your dowel, and we're going to weave this on so it'd be ready to hang on your wall. So you can see that there's got this bit where it's just a rough wood part and this bit which is painted over. So grab the part and lead with the part which is painted over. You're going to pick up your weave, and just like you would normally when you're weaving, you're going to go and weave your dowel through. So what I'm going to do is go through the loops like this. And just like move your dowel like this through the wool, just so, because it might get caught. Cool. So that's your dowel on your loom now. Now what we're going to do, we're going to flip this over like this, and we're going to take it off the loom now. So you're going to have all these cotton. So just bring all the yarn, sorry. Bring the yarn down just so it's out of your way. And bring the spacer so it's nice and tight. So you've got something. Now before we get started, don't cut everything at once. You're going to take it 2 warp threads at a time. So what you're going to do is you're going to remove the spacer. Just get everything out of the way. So it's good to have about 2 centimeters to play with. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut the very first one and the second one. That's it. You're going to pick up those 2 strands, and you're just going to tie a simple double knot like so. And you're going to get your next one, and you're going to cut that. And there again. They're not. You're going to cut your next one. Don't feel like you have to pull too tight on these knots. It's just very, very gentle. Just make sure that they're double knots. And the last one. Great. So you're going to turn it around. Ooh, got to grab your comb. And there again, just do that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move it from the yarn. And because we've got this dowel on already, all we're going to do is just plop it off. And there it is. And then we're just going to bring that up. Now it's up to the tidying up stage. So what we're going to do is we're going to tidy up the back first. So we're going to flip it over. And we're just going to tie these together just so they're out of the way. So you can grab your comb again and just comb it all through just to make it easier for you. Now with this one, because it's got no friend, what you're going to do is you're going to grab one of these white bits that you tied it off and just do a very simple double knot again. Again, don't pull too tightly, just really gently. You're just going to cut that excess off like that. Now with these ones down here, while we're here, we're just going to cut these off very, not to the end, just probably about 0.5 of a centimetre. Cut it off, just so that you can't see it from the front. Now we're going to find some friends. So you're just going, so you see how they're closest, so just going to grab them and gently tie a double knot and then cut off the excess. Again, find the next two that are close together. And then cut, and then again. So we've got an uneven one. So with this one, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my needle and I'm going to sew it into this. So what I'm going to do, I'm at the back, so I'm going to bring that forward and pull it through. Ooh, and it'll come undone. And then around the same loop, I'm going to bring it through like so, through together. And then I'm just going to thread it through that first loop, and then I'm just going to make it a very loose knot, and then cut it off like so. So that's the back of it done. I'm going to flip it over, and hopefully be all nice and even. Don't worry if the sides are a bit out. As you do more with weaving, it gets a lot better. I've been weaving for about 5 years now, and I'm still improving with every time. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fix up the bottom. So we're going to give it a comb and pretend we're going to the hairdressers. So what we're going to do is we're going to comb it through and get to about where it gets to about there, just where it looks like it's all the same length. I'm going to grab it just like a hairdresser and just cut my way through a straight line and just move it all out of the way. Again, whoop, comb it down. Through. And you can see, oh, found this little white bit. Might just cut them down to size. Great, so you're nearly done. All we need to do now is to actually make it a hanging and put some piece there. And I've got some yellow string left over because I didn't use all of my yellow. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to fold it in half. Get rid of one part and fold it a half again. So I'm going to have two bits, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to make a knot and then loop that on. Make it tight, and again do it with the other side. Make that tight and put that underneath it like that. And then I'm just going to tie a knot here. And pull that tight again. And I'm just gonna, again, just, and there you have it. Really cute mini wall hanging.